welcome to a very diverse group of potential next generation of Holt students. It's protecting the diversity of the Holt student body is something that is very important to us. I noticed in the pop-up there somebody from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm picking on that particular location because I live very, very close to there myself. For 3 years as a student, I studied abroad myself as a young man. I was in Mississippi for 3 years, so spent quite a lot of time in New Orleans. But here we are today to talk about the what you can get out of a Holt degree. So Stephen, if you want to move the slide along, a couple of slides actually, we can kick off with an overview. So I think for those of you on the call today, we have a number of you interested in a lot of different programs. So this slide really just shows you the portfolio of degree programs that we offer at Holt across the global campus network. So we have our undergraduate program, we have a sequence of master's programs with multiple options for the master's programs, the Masters of International Business, the MIB, Masters of International Marketing, MIM, Masters of Finance, Masters of Business Analytics, and the Masters of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And then MBA programs. So we also have our MBA program. I say MBA program because it's the same curriculum. And then there are just various modes of study for the MBA program. So you can take the MBA in an intensive 1-year format, or you can take the MBA across 2 years, either in executive format or hybrid or global online MBA. We can talk more about details of that as needed. And then lastly, we have our doctoral program. So we have our DBA program at Holt. For those of you that already have a master's degree and are looking for a PhD or a doctoral program, DBA. And then at Holt Ashridge, we have a range of qualifications that are offered at Ashridge. But today we're here to talk about Holt and particularly Holt postgraduate programs. So really what I'm going to be focusing on is the master's programs and the MBA programs at Holt. So Stephen, if you want to move along to the next slide, we'll get into a little bit more detail about how we design our programs. I think this is possibly something you've already gathered from any previous visits to the Holt website. But the one thing I think that strikes out when you see the Holt website is that we're very much focused on real world education. So it's not a kind of abstract theoretical business knowledge. It's the application of business theoretical knowledge to the real world. And this kind of infuses through everything that we do at the institution. And importantly, it infuses into how we build our curriculum. So our curriculum very much begins with the kinds of jobs that business school graduates are looking to get. And so we work at that level first. We say, what are the jobs that business school graduates want to get? Then we take the next step down, which is to say, well, what are the skills that graduates need in order to achieve those outcomes, in order to get those jobs? And then the next layer down would be, okay, how do we teach a curriculum? How do we build a curriculum which gives students those skills in order to successfully apply for the jobs that are in demand right now? It's a constant cycle of reviewing the careers, the skills that are needed for those careers, and then the courses and skills and content that we put into the curriculum to build it that way. It's very different from the way that a lot of universities and business schools will build their curriculum. Often curricula will be built based upon essentially the faculty that you have in the institution, the professors that are in the institution, and what they want to teach. So it's actually built sort of from the other direction. It begins with what a professor wants to teach and then works its way up, rather than what we believe in, which is build it from the careers and then the skills and then build the curriculum from there. If you want to move along to the next slide, Stephen, I can talk a bit more about the academic journey. This is really our 1-year program. So this is a summary of our 1-year programs. And this in particular is is one of our master's programs, but equally it could be applied to the MBA program as well. So just to give you a sense of the academic journey across the year, all of our programs begin in September. So you'll start at a Holt campus in September. So for argument's sake, you'll start in London. That's where we're focused today. You would take the core of the master's program in London. And for master's programs, there are three modules within that period. So module 1, module 2, module 3, each of them themed around a set of courses. At the end of each module, you'll take a challenge. You'll take a challenge, which could be a simulation. It could be a live client challenge with an actual company. It could be any number of other kinds of challenges, but that challenge is designed to kind of build out the content from the curriculum in each of those modules. So September until April is your core academic year. If you're a London student, you would stay in London during that core part of the academic year. And then from May through to August, for the rest of the academic year, you can stay in London if you want to stay in London, but equally you can rotate to other Holt campuses. And this period, May through August, is where you'll take your electives. So you have a choice of a variety of elective courses, and these give you an opportunity to specialize in certain disciplines. So you would graduate with a Master of International Business with a specialization in finance, project management, business analytics, something along those lines. So the core of your first degree would last September through to April as core, then May to August is your rotation and your electives. And then for those of you who decide you wanted to do the dual degree, which would be that sort of second master's degree at Holt, then you would kick that off the second academic year, and that would run October through to April of the second academic year. Stephen, if you want to move on, we can focus even more on what would a core module, what do we mean by core modules? So these are the core modules on the MIB right now. So this is the current MIB, which is in progress right now. We're right in the middle of module 2 on our MIB this academic year. So you'll see there that module 1 focused on, broadly speaking, design, where the courses would be linked to that particular topic. Market in module 2, execute in module 3. Stephen, if you want to move on, we go into even more detail then on what's inside each of these core modules. So I know it's a bit difficult to see that, but you can, but I think you'll get access to these slides, so you'll be able to see a bit more detail. All of this is on the website though, so there isn't anything here that isn't also on our Holt website if you dig into the program. This is our MIB market module. So this is the module that's actually taking place right now for our MIB students in London. And each module is a combination of courses and a challenge. So students will take, for example, in this instance, collaboration and communication. Number 2, teamwork. That's one course they'll take. They'll take a course on data visualization and analysis, course on financial statements, and building a marketing plan. Those are the courses they'll take during module 2, wrapped up with this business challenge number 2. And the business challenge that the MIB students are about to embark on in the next couple of weeks here in London will be a live company challenge taught by our Professor David James in London. So that's a typical module, and each module is about sort of 8 to 10 weeks. Just want to move on, Stephen. We can wrap up this part. When it comes to electives, so this is out after the core, you're now in your May to August period, where you could choose to stay in London, or you could also rotate to any of our other Holt campuses. Here's just an example of some of the kind of specializations you could pick. Generally, you'll take 4 elective courses in total. And if you package any 3 of those electives together in the same discipline, then you would be eligible to graduate with a specialization. So for example, if you take 3 finance courses as your electives, you graduate with a specialization in finance. And that's just an indicative example there of the kinds of finance courses you might take. Similarly, project management, you might choose to take those courses for a project management specialization. We have about 120 courses that we offer as electives across all of our campuses, and electives registration, or the pre-registration for electives just opened up in London today. So our current students on the program right now have just received their opportunity to register their interest in electives for this summer. That means what kind of courses do you want to take? Which campuses would you like to go to? So it's an exciting time of year for current students right now, the sort of February, March period, when it's that choice of electives to kind of tailor the degree the way you want it. Stephen, if you want to move on. A couple of last things from me, really. I think that this is an important one because I think a lot of times students or candidates for business school think that going to business school is all about knowledge. It's all about theories and it's kind of knowledge based. And to a certain extent, that's true. Every academic discipline is based in fundamental knowledge, but there's much more than just knowledge in a business degree, and especially in a Holt business degree. It's really about your skills and your mindsets, and in many ways, those are the most important things that we're teaching you in a Holt degree program. The knowledge, the theories, in many ways, those are available for free in any context today. You can go online and you can understand knowledge, theories. What we really give you in terms of the value of a Holt degree and a degree in general is the application of those skills. It's putting them into practice in a live environment, in a group environment. It's the challenge of working within teams. It's the challenges of live company challenges, presenting in front of somebody who you can make a difference to. It's all of those kinds of things, the skills and mindsets that we embed across the full year of the program that really add the value to the business degree. So the key point I want to make here is that while you may think you're coming to just learn knowledge, really what we think you're coming to get from a Holt degree is skills and mindsets, which builds confidence, which builds character, which builds courage, which gets you to that next level of whatever you want to do in your career. So I wanted to make that point because I think that's important when we think about graduate education and graduate education at Holt in particular. So Stephen, if you want to move along, this next slide is really just an example of the mindsets. You know, we focus on 5 mindsets at Holt, and we emphasize these across your journey. And in many ways, we screen for these mindsets during the admissions process. So those of you that are thinking about putting an application into Holt, a secret right now is if you can emphasize these mindsets in your personal statement, if you can convince your enrollment advisor that you have these mindsets in abundance, then that certainly helps your application, because we really value the mindsets that our students are coming in with. In so many ways, your attitude and your mindset coming into the program is much more important than your undergraduate GPA, for example. What will set you up to succeed in a Holt program with all of the teamwork, with all of the challenges, is your mindsets. That's the secret to success in a Holt degree program. And then lastly for me, the last slide I have is just an overview of our students. And I think this is everything I've mentioned about the way that we challenge our students in terms of teamwork, in terms of challenge-based learning, application rather than simply theory, is all enhanced because of the nature of our student body. So the 70 or so of you that are on this call today are from about 40 different countries, it looks like. I'm guessing about 35, 40 different countries. That's typical of a Holt student classroom. This is our postgraduate campus last year. This is the makeup of our graduate students globally across Holt postgraduate. So you'll see there is no dominant nationality. We have about 140 nationalities represented in any given academic year. And there's no dominant nationality. The single largest nationality is never more than 8 or 9% of the student body. So it is a truly multicultural environment, which creates amazing educational opportunities in the classroom. And I think as I now hand over to others, and especially to our current student, I think what you'll hear from them is the value of that kind of cross-cultural education. So that's it from me. I'll stick around for any questions, but that's an overview from me right now. So thank you. I'll hand over to Dawn.
Lovely. Thank you, Ian. Hello, everyone. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are today. Thanks so much for joining us to learn a little bit more about the Hult London Postgraduate Experience. As mentioned, my name is Dawn, and I'm the head of careers for Hult EMEA. So I support the career development and employability initiatives across all of London's campuses, as well as Dubai, and manage our amazing team of career advisors. So the team that is here to support our students on their career development journey. Personally, just really quickly, I'm in my 7th academic year here at Hult London, and I've had the pleasure of working with so many of our amazing global alumni. And like the career advisors here in London, I also have a background in corporate, working as a recruiter, as an HR manager. But what I've loved the most and what career has been the most meaningful for me has been the 8 or so years I've now spent in higher education career development. First in my hometown of Chicago, and I saw a few more Americans on the call today, so welcome. And then again here with Hult London now for quite a long time. So next slide, please, Stephen. We'll jump right in and tell you a bit more about what we do. Let's start with some results. And I'm sure your enrollment advisors have shared these statistics with you. But as you can see, a Hult education goes a long way post-graduation. And as mentioned, we're focusing more today on our full-time programs, but here are statistics from the class of 2021. And as you can see, if you're here today because the goal is because you want to switch your country, your industry, or your function, well, you're going to absolutely have the opportunity to do that, as 100% of both our one-year MBAs and master's programs were able to take advantage of that opportunity. You can also see that post-graduation, 3 months, our global one-year MBAs secured roles for 94% of our students. And we can see there that there's some great increases in salary and some great rankings with the Financial Times. As well as with our master degree programs, we see within 6 months, they reach that 90% mark. And we're able to, again, give them this international career that I'm sure is why many of you are on this call today. Now you'll see a few of our top employers, and these are just some of the big names. We feature those because they're globally recognizable, but we also have a number of students who launch their own businesses, who take this new global insight and bring it back to their family business, or who start working at really cool startups, sometimes in their new city, or bring it back to their home country. What I really love about working at Hult and a business school like Hult is that there's no one size fits all process to career development, because you all have different goals, aspirations, and ideas of what your future will look like. I'll show you how we get to these outcomes on the next slide, please. And that is our career development roadmap. So this is the methodology that we employ across all of Hult's global campuses and programs. It's a program we've put together to ensure that you're staying on track for success at graduation. Whatever success means to you, your career advisor is there to support you every step of the way. So let's start with the first stage, which is reflect, that self-exploration. I know so many of our students, especially our MBAs, decide they want to pursue further education because there's something in their career that's missing. They're either kind of hit that wall of, this isn't a fulfilling career for me anymore, or they're looking for something different. So we're going to do a little self-exploration to figure out what you're strong in, what motivates you, what's going to make it easier to get up and go to work on a gray, rainy Monday morning, so that you can bring your best self to work every day. We'll then move to the observe area, which is looking at the market, understanding what jobs are in demand, what skills are in demand, and how you can market yourself to be one of the top candidates, especially when you're going for an international career. From there, we have accelerate. This is where your career development advisor really helps. Now, you are in the driver's seat for this. You are in control of your career development, but your career advisors are your guides. As former recruiters, former hiring managers, we bring a lot of practical experience to our one-on-one advisory. This includes giving you a CV or resume that's not only beautifully put together, but persuasive to help you stand out from the competition. We're also going to talk about building your professional brand on platforms like LinkedIn and how to be more strategic in your job or internship search. Because if you're only applying to jobs on LinkedIn or Indeed, it's a very long, frustrating, and sometimes demoralizing process. So we have tips to help you. And then finally, drive. Again, as former recruiters, we love a mock interview. It's a lot of fun. So we'll give you that opportunity to have personalized feedback. We'll also talk about internships, and you will have the option to do an internship for academic credit during the elective season, should you choose. And then offer negotiation. Again, as former recruiters, we've seen our fair share of offer letters and are happy to review those and talk through ways to make sure that you're getting the best out of your new opportunity. Next slide, please. So I've mentioned our amazing team of career advisors. Here's a high-level overview of how we support you. Now, again, it is up to each individual student to find their own opportunities, but we are there to support through a number of different ways. The first is through a very robust library of digital tools and resources. It's called My Career, and our global team of experts is constantly updating it with great tips, resources, third-party best practice software. So for example, to work on your CV or resume, we have something called VMock, which uses artificial intelligence to scan through your CV on demand and give you that feedback right away of how you can bring your CV from good to great. We also have employability masterclasses and a career immersion, because learn from the experts. So we have these very interactive courses to make sure that you have those employability skills that won't only support you in that first job post-graduation, but for years to come throughout your career. And then the core of what we do and what we love the most is getting to know you individually in one-on-one advisory. So you have the opportunity to book appointments with the team through our online booking system, and we'll sit with you one-on-one and walk through the questions that you have and your process to support you as you go for your internship, job, or starting your own business. And one of the best ways to do this is by facilitating networking opportunities. We have an amazing corporate relations team globally that builds up relationships with our alumni community as well as corporate community in London and also in Europe. And what we see time and time again is this network of support wanting Hult students for a number of reasons. And as you can imagine, in my job, I talk to them a lot. And there's a few common threads that we see in these conversations. But networking is the best way to get in front of those people who are looking to hire great international talent. And to Ian's point, international talent that has those important mindsets and skills that are so in demand, because you can only learn so much from a lecture hall or reading something in a book. But if you've experienced working on a team, an international team with people with different mindsets and ideas and ways of communicating, you can bring that experience into the working world and be much more valuable. Next slide, please. So more of this employability through networking, and how do we help you tap into this network in London and across Europe and the world? Well, first we have our corporate connections. So each year we'll have a number of opportunities on campus and off for you to learn from great companies. And again, as there's not just one employment track that our students go to, we're going to have a variety so you can learn different things and find out which path is best suited to you and your personal goals. We also have our in-house job board called Handshake, which will allow you to find postings directly from our alumni and corporate networks. Speaking of alumni, we have nearly, I think it's over 30,000 global alumni across the world. So regardless if you want to stay in London or go to your home country, you can you've seen the list from Ian. I can guarantee there's probably a Hult alumni in your home country. So with that in mind, we find that these alumni love to connect with the Hult community. They want to give back. They want to meet the current Hult students. So you'll have opportunities to network with them and mentorship opportunities as well. We also have alumni who will come to us wanting to refer alumni or students into their current companies. And of course, these corporate challenges. So again, theory can only take you so far. Putting into practice is what employers love to see and what I hear from them time and time again. So for example, PwC will be coming to the London campus, I think next month, to do a corporate challenge where students who are interested in the consulting world can apply to be a part of this program and be given a real consulting challenge. We've seen for the last few years, a few of our students who really do well in this activity gaining offers after graduation. Next slide, please. And as the team will tell you, I love to brag about our alumni because again, they go to so many different places. So whatever it is that your goal might be, maybe starting your own business like Edith, working with one of the big consulting groups or working in finance or technology or FMCG, we have the tools, support, and network to help you achieve these goals. So on behalf of the lovely team of career advisors, corporate relations experts in London, we hope to see you on campus soon. And with that, I will pass over to Roberta.
Thank you so much, Dawn. So, hi everyone. So I'm Roberta. I'm the head of student services here at the London Postgraduate campus. And yes, I'm from Italy. I will be talking to you about what it means to be coming to London if you have never been here and why you should choose to be in such a place. So if Stephen, if you can change slide. So as you can see here, where there is the heart, we put the heart there just to make you understand how our campus is literally in the heart of London. We are 5 minutes walk from Chancery Lane. We 5 minutes walk to the British Museum, which is for free, and you can go and visit it. 10 minutes from Soho, Chinatown, from the city. So, and on top of that, you're also very close to all the biggest, most important company in London. So you have access to everywhere, everything, and it's a beautiful place to be, and you will be close to everything, like walking distance. If you can go to the next slide. As I said, London is an amazing city. Is one of the most ethnically diverse population in the world. So you can speak, there are spoken at least 250 languages and 270 nationalities. You can find everything. It's a city for everyone. There is if you're interested in restaurant, theater, galleries, parks, and there is like 40 pubs every 100,000 people, which is an amazing number. It's actually lower than other parts in London for pubs because there is so many other different restaurants. As I mentioned before, there is some of the largest business in the world, Europe largest business have the headquarters in London, and you will be walking distance or a bus ride or a tube ride to London. So this is a place where I always say it and I make it fun, as a fun joke, but if you get bored, it's kind of beautiful. You need to look out. There is so much, and there is so much pay, but also for free. Like, for example, the galleries and so many theaters, so many museums are for free, and you can go and visit it and spend your weekend there, and they're amazing. If you can go to the next slide, please. So this is our campus. This is some of the events that we organize in campus. You can see there in the middle is our atrium. We do a range of events. There are some events that we organize for you, and some events that we organize with the students. For example, you can see on the top right, there is Diwali, and that's all our cultural events. We ask our students to organize it with us. Yeah, I see, awesome, as a comment, I love it. So we always reach out to students, and we tell them, please, let's plan it together. Let's see, share your culture. And we want to celebrate every different culture and at the most of our ability. So the best is to hear it from you guys. Then we organize things like this stress week. So we know that you are going to be stressed, all the studies. So with the well-being team, we always organize twice a year, actually, a distress week. Like, for example, last year we had the masseuse coming, we had the smoothie bike. So the whole week there is something going on just to help you relax and refocus, and the students love it. We also get, for example, the LinkedIn photo shoot. We call a photographer to come over and give and take professional picture. So then with the help of our career advisor, you can create the best possible profile on LinkedIn and the best possible CV. As you can see here on the top left, we have the Thanksgiving dinner, which is always a big, maybe probably the biggest one on campus as a sit-down dinner, because we have a lot of large events, but usually is standing. And then going to smaller events, there is what we call the cozy night, where you can see the teepee tent, and that's nights to spend time together and connect, evening to play games and connect and get to know each other. If you can pass it on to the next one. So beside the on-campus event, we obviously organize off-campus events, and those are big ones. So you can see there, for example, the Winter Ball. That's from last year Winter Ball, where the theme was 007. The Winter Ball is an event that is organized with the HALT Student Association. So we collaborate with students. We want to hear from students what the idea they have, what theme they want to have. And this year, our Winter Ball is actually coming up in 7 days on the 8th of February. And our students have chosen that the theme is going to be the Venetian Carnival. So if any of you is following us on Instagram, you might have seen a lot of news, a lot of stories. Please sign up, buy tickets to our students. And then on the right, you can see our kickoff and also Halloween party. So there is, last year we did it in the conservatory at the Barbican, and this year we did it at the Proud Cabaret. So obviously, because it was Proud Cabaret, the theme was circus and cabaret. They're always well attended, and there is a lot of fun, and it's a good way to socialize and network, because networking is not just, there is the business part, but there is also getting to know people and spending time together, and sometimes be silly together. So yes, I think we can go to the next slide. Now, when we talk about event, we also talk about clubs and societies. So clubs and societies are a big part of our campus, of every campus at HALT. So for us, because we are a postgraduate campus, every year we start from scratch. Every year we have new clubs and societies. These are this year clubs, but we do have some of our professional club. For example, HCC, which is the HALT Consulting Club, or the entrepreneurs, or BCA, that unfortunately this year there is not in London, but those clubs are global, and they're actually already looking for applicants. If you decide to become a HALT student and you would like to become a president, you can always find out and reach out, because they're already looking for candidates for next year to become presidents for the clubs. And then we have professional and social club, which of course they stay local. And as Ian said, we do have our football team, which this year is amazing. We won so much, and we are winning again. We won against the undergraduate campus, which is very strong. They have the continuity, so they have the team that kind of stay for more years, but ours this year were really, really good. And yes, I mean, the best thing is to connect, to network, to get your opportunity by learning and organizing events and panel event, guest speaker. You also will be more, employers will be more interested in seeing someone who is so active, even in their university. So it's something for you to think of and to take on. And then we would be collaborating and working together to organize amazing events. So I think that's it from me. And I will pass it back to Stephen. And I will ask you guys follow us on our social, Alt London.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'm overtaking from here. So thank you so much for our academic team from the Postgraduate campus. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Dawn. And thank you, Roberta, for joining on and giving us so great information about the campus itself, how living in London is, and a bit about an overview of the campus and the programs that we're hosting there. Yeah, now is literally the time for you to get like any questions answered from our students, or today more alumni, myself as well. I will be available to answer any questions for the master's programs itself. And then we have also Armando joining and Pablin joining in. Pablin is currently an MBA student on campus, so he has a bit more insights what's going on right now. And Armando and I can talk a bit more about like how it is to go through the programs. Yeah, so from my side, I think the easiest is if you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. I see already a couple of questions there that we're going through. And all else, I would say we can begin like with a short intro, who we are, what we're doing. Just quickly from my side, I've done the MIM and the MIB, the dual degree at Hult. I started in Boston, rotated over to London, and finished my degrees in 2019. And then I got a fabulous offer to start a marketing position here for the European region with our teams that are locally here. So without talking too much about myself and getting into literally the Q&A with our students, which is much more interesting. So I don't know, Pablin, are you here? Please unmute yourself, show your face, and then please have a short intro about yourself. Pablin, are you here? Let me see. Yeah, here we go.
Hi, hello everyone.
Can you enable also video so that we see you?
Yeah. Can you hear me, Stephen?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
I can hear really well.
So hi guys, yeah. So I am Pablin, and I'm the current MBA student at Hull, particularly in the London campus. And it's been over, half a year now. It's been 6 months. And I must say the journey has been incredible from day one when we actually came to the campus. And I think after pandemic, this is the first class that is happening totally in person. So it's been a phenomenal journey from day one to now that we are over halfway through the course already. And London in particular has been very kind in all aspects. And I must say the faculty or even the career services, is very supportive. Not that I'm speaking on behalf of the institution, but in general, because before coming here or before being a student here, I was on that side of the fence. So I particularly know how attending these webinars were and I would, often attend and ask my queries, connect people with on LinkedIn, etc. So yeah, before coming here, I used to work with BNP Paribas. So I'm a former employee there, and I belong to India. So I come from the financial capital, that's Mumbai, and I'm here at London now, and looking forward to the rest of the time and the rest of the journey as well.
Super. Thank you so much, Prableen. I don't know if you can enable your video. You should be able to. But thank you so much for the introduction. And Armando, are you here as well? Here we go. So thank you so much, Prableen. Armando,
hello
go
everyone.
ahead.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you so much. And hi to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And I remember when I was part of those question and answer, I mean, in 2021, before to enroll to HALT. So nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Armando Coviello from Italy. I did my MBA before in Dubai. I start on September 2021. And after that, I rotate to Boston and to New York. So, and I decided to do the elective in finance. My educational background is in law. So I studied law before, and after that, I decided to proceed with specialization in finance. And right now I'm located in Luxembourg, where I'm working as a senior compliance specialist for a multinational company that is Apex. And I'm combining both of my skills, so the legal and finance.
Lovely. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you guys. Thank you so much for the time as well. I see a bunch of questions in the Q&A box. A couple of them, I'm just quickly running through them, and then we go a bit deeper into the conversation, I would say. I see like somebody asked, for instance, for the song that we played at the beginning. I think you guys know as well, we have a HALT song. Where you can find it, YouTube. I think we have it also on Spotify, and it's called What About You? Feel free to check that out. So we answered that. Let's go for that. And then we have a question about accommodation. And I kind of like would push this question to either of you who wants to answer that. Like, how did you guys do that for accommodation? Did you take a HALT accommodation, or how is the situation in London itself? So either of you speak up.
Yes, I mean, in my case, it was in Dubai. So actually, there are also, I remember in a brochure of HALT at the final part, there are some accommodation that are also that HALT suggest. But I mean, you can also find by yourself if you prefer. I mean, there are many people that just rent an apartment, and there is also a group on Facebook that I use it actually, where you can connect also with other future HALT alumni, and you can also ask if someone is looking for a roommate. And the same happened also for me in Boston, actually, where it is also the HALT house, so that is literally an accommodation by HALT. But I mean, I think also in London it's the same, so that you can also looking for a place and an apartment to share with a future alumni by yourself, or maybe through that what HALT suggested to you.
And Pavleen, how did you do that?
Yeah, so my experience with the accommodation here in London. So basically, when I joined the institute, I had no friends prior to coming to the institute. Like, so you often, you travel or you study with your friends from your country. But I was a solo here. So what we did is the students often create WhatsApp groups at their end. So we often, would find, or most of the students would find somebody on the group itself, so that they can pair up, find their rooms or their houses, that spare room, Zoopla, etc. Being in the digital world, so it's very easy and accommodating to find places now, unlike the past. So yeah, I would say you can either go for private accommodation by Zoopla or spare room, etc. I'm not promoting any brand particular here, but just giving you a reference. Or you can choose to go for student accommodations, and that's very good deals as well. So everything is on the web, and You can choose whatever suits you in your budget, in the preference of your locality, etc.
Totally. Yeah, just from my experience as well, just adding to it, in Boston, I've done first, because I didn't know the city well, done the student accommodation by house, so go on over there. And then, as both of you also said, right, we teamed up with our friends that we made then, and then we got the flat together, which we found like through contacts, and because we have all the option to rotate during the year. There's always people at house where you're getting connected with that are leaving the city or also searching to go together. There's always a coming, going, and exchange between the students, right? So I feel the community that we're having is pretty good also to provide housing. So I feel it's also a bit networking with the students itself. I see a couple of questions here. You guys can see also the Q&A box, right? So you can also go through it. If you see a question you want to answer, go for it. Some question I can answer quickly is like, what is it about support admission process? I think we all were going through that when we were applying. The best thing is to start an application, I would say, and then we have your information, and then our enrollment advisors is going to reach out to you, and then they're going to help you with the admissions process, I would say. I think that's the easiest way. I can see questions also on what kind of documents we have to provide as students. I think for you guys, it was also CVs, right? We have to have a CV and then a motivational letter. And I can see questions also for funding and scholarships. So I think that's an important topic to have also a certain diversity on campus, what is important for us as HALS. So I can first speak from my side, and then it would be a question for your side, how you guys done that. From my side, it was a mix. So I applied for scholarships that HALT provides. I would differentiate them between merit-based and needs-based, but you find them also on the website if you want to have a bit more deeper information on that. But I would say easiest is needs-based is like, do you really need it? We're looking at the finances of you. Do you have savings? Did you work? That is like the needs-based, the hard stuff. And then the soft stuff is, what do you do on the side except of work? So are you in an NGO? Are you active in your community? And then there's funding you can apply to as well. Easiest way, same thing, I would say, reach out to your enrollment advisors about that. My questions would be for you, Pauline first, I would say, and then Armando, how you guys done that, because I think it's an important part also about it, right? Please go ahead, Pauline or Armando. Sure.
Yeah, so I mean, for my case, I also applied for a scholarship, and I mean, I received part of scholarship as well, because there are also partial scholarships. I mean, it depends about case by case, and also depends about your experience, your motivation. In my case, I remember that I really want to go to the Middle East, so I really want to do this experience, because also during my educational background studying law, I also had an opportunity to study Islamic and Muslim law. So for me, was interesting to go to the Middle East and to explore also that part of the world. And I remember that in my case, when I did the interview, I share also with I mean, the person that was doing the interview for me, that passion that I really want to go to the Middle East for this reason. And after that, I want to pursue with the finance because actually studying law was something very far away from my education, and I want also to receive that skills for my future job. Indeed, like you can say, they helps. So I mean, that's up to you. I mean, it depends about your motivation, and it's something that you can evaluate case by case. It's difficult to give an answer for, I mean, a general answer. Because I mean, you must see case by case, depending about your motivation, your experience, what you want to do, and why you want to receive it.
Lovely. Exactly. Totally agree to that, Armando. Pauline, you just texted me. Do you have to leave the room, or can you stay?
Yeah.
Or
I have a hard stop for that. So yeah, just summarizing my experience in terms of the enrollment here. I think that it was on very positive, because I was pretty clear from the past that I wanted to do an MBA, and I have a strong, a statement of purpose. And, I was very focused and framed first in my own self. And then that's how, I could maybe convince, I would say, or, support my own application with a fair, a fair judgment for the enrollment advisor. So I would say, at your own end, to be first, sure what you want to do, which course you want to take, and then only, you can go ahead. You should go ahead with the application. So, what is your long-term goal, and which program basically aligns to that better.
Super. Thank you so much, Praveen. Also, thank you for your time. If you have to leave, I may allowed to say that feel free to connect with everybody that's here with Praveen. Reach out to him to ask a bit more questions afterwards. Thank you so much for joining still. And I'm taking your topic for courses because I see that as well. What's the experiences? Armando, do you want to also talk about that? Like, how are the courses and how was your experience during the studies?
Yes, I like this question. That's very interesting. I mean, the courses of, you can start with the general one. So as a finance, data and decision, managerial economics, and of course, all the courses about business. And those are the mandatory course that you need to do, because I will talk in my case as an MBA, but the majority of course, also with the MIB, we have some classes in common. Of course, there are some difference between there, but there are also some classes in common. So there are those mandatory courses that you need to do. And after that, you can decide the elective course for your passion, what you like, and if you want to specialize in some sector. But just to give you my experience as an example, I remember that from the first actually month that I came to HALT in Dubai, I started with a data and decision course that for me was something literally far away from my skills, because I say to you, I study law. So just see statistics for me for something that, okay, I need to start with a new word and a different perspective. By the way, the professor are always able to explain you everything, and you can ask questions, and you have all the material that also you can use later on, and that can help you a lot. And also, all the assignment that you will do during the courses, you can always ask questions, and also working in a teams, like also I remember the first part of Jan that he was saying about the diversity of team, that everyone can help you in a different way. So that's also is a path of your future career. And of course, Dawn and also Roberta can confirm, because working in a team is one of the major skills that you can use also during your career. Also, right now that I'm senior and I'm also managing a team here in Luxembourg, I have to say that also working in a team during my MBA helps. So there are all those little things that in that moment you can felt, because you are of course overwhelmed with all the subject. By the way, in the long-term process, you will see. And of course, about the specialization, that is completely up to you. But in my case, I decided to do finance as a specialization, but I was in New York City, and that was that course of business of fashion. And I was interested to do it because I like also the fashion world. So I say, okay, just join for passion and just to see everything about those skills that, so it's completely up to you. So all the courses that you will do, and you will decide.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Also, I can talk a bit on the academic side for that, and Ian, if you're still there, you can also help me with that. So the programs are generally like 1 year, right? And then you have your your core modules, and then you have your electives, and the core modules are divided in 3 partitions. that are going through different courses. So you're getting all the core skills and knowledge that you need in a business degree. And then you specialize yourself in a direction you want to go. So for instance, if you're going into more the finance part, you're selecting the finance courses. If you're going in project management, you're selecting the project management courses. If you're going into marketing, you're picking your marketing specializations you want to go to, right? This is like kind of how the year works. I see also a question for dual degree. Aman, I don't know if you've done the dual degree for MBA. I done it. How that literally works is on top of this 1 year that you're having, there's a half a year on top on that, where you're getting a second degree that kind of builds on the first degree. And the second part specializes on the specializations you had, right? I can see Ian joining in, maybe can help me also a bit about it and how it works a bit better. But also in the dual degree, you can also rotate, which is a nice experience. And you're getting like to know a different market and getting to know different courses for that where you want to go. So Ian, for London, for instance, what's the situation for the program as well? Do you have already an academic schedule maybe that we can a bit elaborate on?
I think we're about to publish the schedule for next academic year sometime soon. We've just been working on it right now, actually. I mean, broadly, it's the same dates as any previous year. So we normally just sort of go back a day, and in each year. So it's usually the second week of September is the week that we actually start our programs orientation wise. I want to say a little bit about sort of programs, and because there've been a lot of questions. It seems that I've been frenetically answering questions as well on text, but the questions about which degree program is right for me is one of the questions there. And I think a lot of it depends on your own personal background, your own first degree, what you did your undergraduate degree in, what you're specifically interested in, and also how much work experience you have. So if you're somebody that's straight out of your undergraduate degree, you're finishing it now, or you finished it within the last couple of years, then your choice would be our master's programs. The MBA programs are for those who've got a minimum of 3 years work experience after they've graduated from their undergraduate, and the average work experience is a lot in advance of that 3 years. So the average work experience is sort of 7 to 10 years on the MBA program. A little bit more for our executive MBA programs. For those of you then that have done an undergraduate degree in business, really you can choose any one of our master's programs if you've done a business related subject in your undergraduate program, because you've sort of got the prerequisite knowledge to be able to do one of our specialist master's degree in finance or business analytics or marketing. You could also choose to do the MIB as well if you've got a bachelor's in a business-related discipline. You're just adding a layer of master's level program to your knowledge. If your undergraduate degree is in a subject that isn't connected to business, so if you for example, like myself as an undergraduate many years ago, did American Studies and Politics as my undergraduate degree. I would not be eligible for one of the specialist master's degree in business because that means that I wouldn't have the prerequisite business foundation in order to be able to go into a kind of complex specialized master's degree in business. So in that instance, the option would be for me as an undergraduate, if I was coming into a Hult Masters, would be the MIB degree, which is your real sort of foundation of all the business disciplines. The option then for somebody in that situation who's maybe coming to business for the first time, this is where dual degree becomes an interesting proposition. If your end point is you really want to work in finance or you really want to work in marketing, the dual degree, which would be the dual degree in marketing, might be your exit point then from Hult. It would be worthwhile you going on and doing a sort of second master's degree in a second year at Hult. And essentially, that's what the dual degree is. It's an unusual concept in higher education, but it's this notion that you can cluster two of your masters together, and conceptually we'll take 1/3 of the credits from both of those from the first master's degree, essentially your electives in the first master's degree, and count those towards your second master's degree. So you'll do the core in both degrees, but your electives will be shared electives between both degrees, and therefore you'll get essentially in a from about 20 months, you'll get the first degree after the first year in the program, and then you'll study September through to the end of April to get your second Holt master's degree. So you're getting the same core in both subjects. You're doing the core of the specialist degree, you're doing the core of the second degree. The electives are the shared component that allow you to shave some time off the two degrees. And it's really intriguing combinations. Every year we sort of see very traditional combinations, which might be MBA followed by finance or MIB followed by business analytics. We also see some strange combinations where you have somebody that starts out in the Masters of Finance and then decides to do a dual degree in marketing, which is an unusual combination, you might think. But it's an interesting way for students who even sometimes are not quite sure what discipline they want to go into at the end of that first job, to actually start out in a Holt degree. And then if you really like that content and you want to get the job after the first year, then you can exit after the first year with that knowledge. And then if you decide you want to do something more specialized or a different subject altogether, then the dual degree becomes a nice option. So dual degree is an option for anybody who wants to join a first Holt degree.
Thank you so much, Ian, for helping me and elaborating on that. We are running a bit late, so I don't know how long you can stay, but I would answer some more questions if that is okay. Also for you, Armando, I know you had a hard working day. Just let us know if you can still stay a bit. I would say, okay, let's go through 2-3 more questions, and then I would head off the session from here. I can see also some questions about English proficiency. So if you're applying an IELTS, it's not a bad idea to have, or a TOEFL, I would say. But as far as I know, we removed these requirements since this year. It would be good to have it because we are all communicating in English, but we're also looking on how long did you work in an English working environment, right? So if you are, for instance, working already since 3 years, 4 years in English environment, we are expecting you to speak fluently English to answer that question that I can see there.
I think if you don't mind, Stephen, if I could add to
Yeah.
that from the admissions perspective, because from a Holt admissions perspective, because there's sort of 2 layers of this. There's a Holt admissions perspective where we might be able to clearly see that you've got multiple years working in an English speaking environment. We've spoken to you, we've interviewed you, we're comfortable with your English level. So the admissions decision might actually be yes, you're fine, you're accepted. But sometimes from a visa perspective, we can't control the UK visas and immigration decision making. So from a visa's perspective, even though we think you don't need an English test, in order to gain a UK student visa, you may need an IELTS or a TOEFL English test. So sometimes it's not necessarily our decision that you need an English test. It's more likely to be the kind of UK Home Office that decides you need an English test to get the UK student visa. So it's
good point.
Usually more often than not, that's the situation where we're perfectly comfortable with your English level, but it's the UK government that needs the evidence.
Super, absolutely, totally blended that out, but that is correct for visa purposes. Yeah, you need to have that. So that might be a point to look at, but I feel for an international business school, you need to have English to communicate with the people. So TOEFL wouldn't be a bad idea to have. Then we have questions. Can we work while studying? I think it's a tough question. I don't know for you, Armando, did you work while studying? I know our academics team says usually you shouldn't because it's really tough. And I think we can also talk about that. But Amanda, do you have a short take on it? And then I think also Dawn can say something about it.
Yes, actually, yes, happened to me when I was in Dubai, because like I said you before, I literally decided to apply for Middle Eastern because I study also Islamic and Muslim law. So for this reason, I was also involved with Islamic child protection. That was the topic of my thesis. And I work as a volunteer part-time for a child safeguarding conference. That was this project made in Dubai that was connected also with my study before. So, I mean, I decided also to do that experience absolutely part-time for a couple of hours because the MBA was really tough. But I mean, I was literally involved in other situation with ALT as a global ambassador. I mean, so I literally enjoyed the experience. And also talking with my career advisor, she showed me about this opportunity that was connected with the law. And I mean, I say, yes, why not? I can do it. But it was just for a project. So just for a couple of months, nothing, I mean, more. But I also know, because as I told you before, I also rotate to US. And for example, in US, it's completely different because over there, you can't work with that visa that you have. This is the F1, is the visa for students. So you absolutely can do it. In Dubai was something different because it was as a volunteer. So I didn't earn any money because I was volunteer and I was speaker, because as you can see, I love to speak and everything. So I mean, I was speaker as a specialist in that subject as an Italian that studied law, and it was in the Middle East. But it's difficult to combine through your studies.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And Dawn, please go ahead.
Well, yes, I agree with Armando that working during your studies is a lot. The HALT program is, you know, for most of our programs, a one-year program. It's very intense. And of course, you want to make sure you're making the most out of your studies. Now, that being said, with any campus that you go to, there are going to be different visa regulations that you need to adhere to. Being an American now in London, who also works with the Dubai campus, I have a high-level overview of the visa situations for each of those campuses. However, what I can tell you is we have a lovely dedicated team of visa experts on each campus who can answer a lot of these individual questions. However, speaking, as I know we're focusing primarily on the UK today and the London campus, what I can tell you is if you are on a Tier 4 student visa, you might have the ability to work for up to 20 hours per week throughout the academic year. That being said, if you find an internship or a volunteering opportunity, as long as it does not surpass that 20-hour per week mark, or else the UK government would not look too fondly on that. What I will say is post-graduation, the UK now has the UK graduate route visa. So that allows students who graduate from an accredited UK institution like HALT to live and work in the UK for up to 2 years. It's been a really exciting game changer for HALT students. But to your question around working while studying, I would highly recommend get to campus, get into your rhythm, join lots of clubs and societies, because as Roberta has showed you, that's such a part of the student experience. Don't underestimate how important that is. And then if you feel that you have the capacity to find some part-time work, that is absolutely an option.
Super. Thank you so much, Dawn. As I said, one last question, if that is okay. I see, Roberta, you had one question flag. Do you want to go into that? Please overtake from here.
Yes, I saw there was a question regarding accommodation, and I thought it might be better to answer to everyone. So they were asking what the price would be for a family of 2. So I'm thinking whether it's 1-bedroom flat or 2-bedroom flat, but if we were to stay small in 1-bedroom flat, then the price ranges, it changed a lot depending on the area where you want to live. Obviously, the closer you are to campus, the closer you are to the center, the more expensive it is. But you can go anywhere between £1,300 to £3,000, £4,000, £5,000. It literally depends on you. I was looking now at the average for a room rent. Right now, we are around £900 to rent one room in London. One thing I can say is that Armando pointed out the Facebook group. We do have some resources to some groups where you can get in touch with the current students who might leave their flat, and then maybe you can find the flat easily. But it is important that you start looking soon if you choose to come to the London campus. I mean, the good thing about London is that there is a lot going on and there is a lot coming and going, but at the same time, flats, apartment and rooms goes very fast. Sometimes you go to look for a flat and there is 30 people in front of you that are looking, and people find flats without even looking at it. They just do a video call and they get the flat as soon as they see it, because there is such a high demand. So I would recommend that you start looking into it, also because now at the end of the summer, for example, a lot of student accommodation like IQ and Chapter, they then free up. You can pre-book in advance, and that will give you a lot of time then to get ready and get settled without having to panic the moment you land in London and looking for a flat. When there is already a lot going on, there is your orientation, you're getting to learn and know a lot of people. So do that as soon as possible, and then you will be much more relaxed. One other last thing that I want to say is that as a foreign student, they will ask you 6 months or up to a year in advance of rent, which is something that you need to take that into consideration. At least you don't find that as a surprise, because otherwise they ask you for a guarantor. But if you're a foreign student, you will, unless you have someone who lives in the UK already can be a guarantor, you would not find that. But it's all about planning and getting ready. It's not impossible. You just need to, all our students made it, so you can make it too. But the sooner you start, the cheaper you find and the better options you find, and maybe even closer to campus.